Hey folks, Father Sympathy from CGVirus here. Today we're going to see how to install Linux and some productivity tips about Linux and GNOME desktop. So basically we will see how to install Linux Mint and Linux Mint and Ubuntu. Most of these things are basically same, and we're going to use GNOME as our desktop environment because I use these things in daily basis. So I'm using Linux for 12 years, and I also give solutions to my clients on Linux setup. So what I have seen that for home users and studio, professional studio setups, Linux Ubuntu and Linux Mint, these two distro are very good, rock solid, especially the Mint one, because I use Mint every time, and these are rock solid. Okay, you can use it as a beginner, as a pro. Also, you can use Fedora, Arch Linux. These two are very good as well. Manjaro. These are also good, but these are bleeding edge, so there are some compatibility issues. So overall, Linux Mint is my go-to always. So I'm going to install Ubuntu and Mint, and we're going to see how you should install it, and we will also see some productivity tips for GNOME environment. So let's see. Alright, so let's talk about the partition first. It's a pretty important one. So in traditional Windows setup, what we have is basically a C drive, which will contain the Windows, and then we have the other drives, which will be your project drive and everything. So in Linux, we have a similar situation. Traditionally, people don't use this type of setup, but I recommend it because a root drive, if you have a single root drive, a separate root drive and a separate home drive, then it will be easier to replace your Linux anytime. Okay, and your data will be safe with your home drive. So that means, just like C drive, we sometimes need to wipe our whole Windows and we need to reinstall it. Just like that, we sometimes need to wipe our whole operating system and we need to reinstall our operating system. In that setup, you should always separate your home drive and root drive. Otherwise, this may occur, and this may happen, and it has been happened, that you have tried to install your new Linux operating system and all of your files have been gone. Why? Just because you have not separated your home folder, home drive. Okay, so in Linux we use home drive and root drive. Okay, the root means it's mostly like Windows C drive. Okay, it's called root, and there is a home drive where the all of your files and personal files will be there. Okay, and this will be home. So we will see what does it mean later when we will install this setup and everything. Okay, so now let's talk about two scenarios. That our home box has two kind of scenarios. Some people have a HDD, a hard disk drive, a rotary drive, which is something like 4 terabyte or 6 terabyte, and they also have a SSD. It is lower in the space, something like 1 terabyte or 500 GB or 256 GB. So if that is the situation, then what I will say that use SSD as your root drive and your HDD as your home drive. Okay, home partition. It will be your home partition and it will be your root partition. SSD will be your root partition. This is the one setup. Another setup is you only have HDD or you only have SSD. Okay, sometimes the laptops, most of the laptops has this setup. They have only SSD, nothing else. In that setup, we need to allocate a partition like 250 to 300 GB for root. And this root will be used for your operating system and some Debian packages and everything. Okay, and the rest on the gigabyte rest space will be used as your home directory, home partition. All right. Now we will see how to create this stuff with our Linux Mint installation. So let's go to the Mint. I'm in my virtual box, so let's open it. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is what installation looks like. So we are in live. Here we go. Okay, so we have inserted the bootable device, and let's see. Okay, so we are in live mode. Okay, so this is Linux Mint. You should also see something similar in Ubuntu as well. Okay, so let's go to the install Linux Mint, and let's select it. Okay, so this is the installation setup. So let's go to continue. English US, English US. You could, but I'm not. I know, because it will take some time. Okay, now here, don't use this option. Okay, this is for beginners. You should not use that. Let's go for something else. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So something else, go to continue, and you will see if your drive is fresh, you will see something like this. So let's create a new partition table, and we have 107 GB here. Okay, in my virtual machine. So let's assume that this is the SSD, and it has 1 terabyte. Okay, let's assume that like that. Okay, so let's create a new partition table. Continue. Now we have a free space. Okay, so what we need to do here is basically, let's create a calculator. Okay, first thing first is basically you should use GPT partition. No one use MBR, so that means you need a UEFI. So let's create an UEFI partition first. And the UEFI partition, for UEFI partition, I would prefer, let me see. Yeah, for UEFI partition, I would prefer 500 MB here. Okay, so let's give it 500 MB. And the partition system should be an EFI system partition. Okay, so if you are using a GPT partition system, then you should use an EFI partition system. This is the modern system. This is the modern system, and you should probably use this one. Okay, so I'm giving you a very basic, the traditional setup here. Okay, so this is EFI. Now we have free space. Now what we need to do is basically, let's go here. We need to create a root. Okay, root, and this root will be our installation setup for Linux Mint or Ubuntu, whatever. Okay, so I have 107 GB. So you should have 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, or if you have SSD, then you should have a SSD drive here. So suppose this is a 1 terabyte drive, and we have free space. So what I need to do here is basically, we need to give it something like 300 GB, 300 into 1024, which is 307 200 MB. So 307 200 MB, this will be our root drive. Okay, so I'm using a virtual space, so my space is low, so I'm just giving it 30 GB. So 30 into 1024. Okay, you should use 307 200. I mean 300 GB. I'm using 30 GB here because I don't have that kind of space here. So let's just create this, and let's give it 30720 MB, that is 30 GB. I'm going to use ext4, ext4 file system, and the mount point should be root. Okay, this is called root. Okay, root. So root is equivalent to C drive in Windows. Okay, so let's get okay. There we go. And then the rest of the free space you have, it will be your home partition. Okay, so let's create this here, mount point / home. Okay, here we go. You are done. Now you are safe. Okay. Then what you need to do is basically you need to select the install now. So let me show you something that if you had 2 disk space, that means 1 SSD and 1 HDD, then use that HDD for home partition, and then these root partition you should use the SSD. Okay, I don't have any I don't have two disks, so that's why I'm using 1 disk and partitioning it like this. Okay, but if you have 2 disks, then use the SSD as your root and home as your and HDD as your home partition. Okay, but I have SSD, so that's why I have created this setup here. Okay, here we go. And by the way, when you are doing it, make sure that you have backup all of your data first, otherwise everything will be formatted here. You can't recover anything. Okay, so recover whatever data you have in your old device, then start working on it, otherwise you'll be done. All right, so yeah, so now let's install now and continue. It will create some things. Yeah, continue, and continue. Give your good name. So I'm just going to start with test. There you go, test. Let's give it test. All right, continue. Okay, now it will download the stuff. So the thing is, basically, if you can't understand the partition system, talk with your specialist. They will give you a full understanding, but always try to use a home partition and a root partition, otherwise you will suffer. All right, so this is also true for Windows, this is also true for Mac, this is also true for Linux. So use your partition carefully. Okay, have a home partition, separated home partition and a separated root partition, and as always, remember to save your data before doing anything else. Okay, all right, so I will come back after the installation is finished. Let's see. Okay, the installation is finished, so let's restart now. Okay, so now what you should have is basically this thing that is called please remove the installation medium, then press enter, which means if you have a pen drive, just disconnect it from your USB and then press enter. Okay, so after installation, this should look like this. There we go. Let's create a test. Okay, show this is startup and check. There we go. And let's go to display setting and let's go for 1920 1080. Apply, keep changes. Okay, so this is mint. All right, so there we go. So if I want to see the disk we were talking about, okay, you can see the disk here. So this is the partition C. So this is the 76 GB partition, which is basically our home folder, this one, home folder, and this is our root folder, that is called C drive. Okay, the root folder. Okay, here we go. So now let me show you how our home folder looks like. If we suppose we need to create to project, okay, so this is our project and this is my new project, so something like that. Okay, so what you can do is basically you can create a bookmark here. Now you will have your project. So in Windows, what we do is basically we create a C drive and then D drive and E drive, something like that. In Linux, there is only one drive, and there is one C drive, which is the root. You will find the root here. If I go to control, and this is the root. Okay, root file system. This is the root. Okay, you can see this bin, boot, dev, etc. Mint, mnt, opt, user, temp. So these are root. Okay, these are the root folders. Here is your operating system, and in your home folder you will find your user. Okay, so these are your user, and we have already created a folder that is called project, and this is my new project. So this is how simply it works. Okay, it's very simple. If you start working on it, I think probably in a week or two you will be proficient in Linux. It's not difficult, it's very easy. Okay, now I want to finish up with the boot setup here. If for some reason your operating system crash, or if you want to change your operating system, if you want to update your operating system, what you need to do. So now let's see that as well. So let's see. Okay, now let's talk about the situation. The thing is, you have installed Linux Mint, you have used it, it is good. Now after a year you need to update it to new Linux Mint, or you want to update it to a new operating system like Arch Linux or Ubuntu, something like that. You want to do it. So we're going to see how to retain your home folder and just change the operating system. That would be awesome, right? So let's do it. So let's go to the Mint. I have already inserted the USB bootable key here, okay, in my setup. So I'm just going to start working on this Ubuntu. So we are in actually the Mint session, in the Mint box, Linux Mint, and now we are trying to install Ubuntu on that Mint. We need to delete the root folder, we need to delete the Linux Mint, and we need to install Ubuntu over that. That is the thing we are going to want to do. So let's go try install Ubuntu. Initiating. Okay, so now we're in the Ubuntu live installation system. Okay, let's go to English. Remember, we are in Mint. Okay, Mint installed setup. We want to replace Mint with Ubuntu. Okay, let's go to English. Next, yeah, next, skip, next, interactive, next, default, skip. Okay, let's go. Okay, now we are in erase disk and manual, obviously manual. Let's go to manual, let's go to next. Okay, now you are seeing that we have this ext4, which is our root folder, root drive, which has Linux Mint 22.2 Zara, which we already installed. This one is the EFI drive we had, and this is your home folder. So what we need to do, see very carefully. Let's go here, go to change, leave formatted as ext4, replace it with ext4. Mount point should be root. Press OK and see this thing, okay, this format. See, it has been ticked to format. That means it will be formatted. These drive will be formatted. Just think like C drive will be formatted and will be replaced with your Ubuntu setup. So root drive will be formatted and it will be replaced with your Ubuntu. That's all. Now let's go to the UEFI. We need to delete this partition here, and then we need to select this. Let's go to vfat, mount point nothing, that's okay. It will be mount point. Okay, and this one we don't want to, this is our home folder. We don't want to format it. What we need to do is basically go to change, leave formatted as ext4, go to home. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is not going to be formatted. This is not going to be formatted. It will be used as our home mount point, but it will not be formatted. That means your data will be safe, and this will be formatted. Your root folder will be, root drive will be formatted, and your UEFI will be formatted. That's all. Then if you press next, and everything, it will be installed. But I'm not going to, because we have something else to do. Okay, so this is how you can work with it. Let me show you the Mint one as well. Let's see. If I want to replace with a newer Mint, upgraded Mint, so what we can do here as well. So let's see. Okay, so now we are in Mint and we want to update it. Okay, we want to update it to something else. Suppose this is 22.2. Suppose we want to update it to 24.2. Suppose it is a 24.2. So I just want to show you how to do this stuff. Okay, so let's go here. The same scenario. Okay, we are in the live USB, so let's go to install. Suppose it is 24.4 or something like that. Okay, so it's a newer Linux Mint, so I want to update it. You can update it in within the installation, but it is better to install it in a fresh USB. So we want to do it like that. Okay, so let's go to continue. 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 Okay, now you have this. So I don't want to do anything, just go to something else. Continue. Okay, now you have this. Okay, EFI, this is the ext4, this was ext4, and this is your home folder, right? So what we need to do here, basically go to change, EFI file system. Okay, continue. Then this one will be your root. Do not use this partition. You need to use an ext4. You can check it, format this partition. You can go to mount and you can use root. Press OK. Okay, and this was your home, right? So let's go here. Use this partition as ext4. Just don't check this, format this partition, and just use /home. Okay, uncheck format partition, don't use that format partition. So let's go to OK. Now everything is all fine. So you can see that the EFI will be EFI, the ext4 will be formatted, and the /home will be not formatted, but it will be used, the mount point. Okay, So then if you go to install now, it will be installed. So that's how you can update your setup without erasing your home folder, home drive. So that's what I want to say. Okay, so now we are going to install vanilla GNOME, that is the original GNOME in Ubuntu and Mint. So I use GNOME for almost 10 years and I always use GNOME. And I don't like, personally, I don't like Ubuntu GNOME or Ubuntu style or Unity style. I don't like the setup. So I always prefer GNOME, vanilla GNOME, the original GNOME. So if you are like me, what you need to do is basically go to Ctrl+T and start working on it. So let's go for sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. So we need to update and upgrade it, so it will take some time. So let's see. Okay, so let's stop these things. First, yes, finish. Okay, so now we are here. So it has been updated. So now what we want to do is basically just give these two commands, sudo apt install gnome and then gnome-session, these two. There we go, and it will install your GNOME. So let it install. Okay, so the GNOME is installed. So let's go here and let's reboot our system. There we go. Okay, now is the important part. Let's go to the test Ubuntu, and here in the gearbox you will now see that there is Ubuntu, there is GNOME on Xorg, GNOME Classic on Xorg, GNOME Classic and GNOME. So let's use GNOME. Okay, we're going to select GNOME here, and now let's just give your password and let's start. Here we go, we're in solid GNOME now. This is the solid GNOME. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some of my best, some of my favorite personal tricks, personal productivity tips. So let's see. I always use these things. So let's use sudo apt install. This one is called alacarte, ALA. All of these setup, all of these instructions will be in the link in the description. So sudo apt install alacarte. Alacarte is basically called main menu. With it you can create launchers. Then this is gdebi, which is basically Debian installer, Debian package installer. Then you can use RAR, which is WinRAR, or the 7-zip and everything. And we want to use Qt6CT. It is for Qt apps. So yeah, install them. On the other hand, let's install Chrome. Let's go here. Okay, we are using Firefox to download Chrome, and this is the dip. Let's see the themes here. So press Windows key, and let's go to tweaks, and yeah, appearance, Windows appearance. Let's go to display setting. Yeah, appearance. Let's go for dark. There you go. All right. I also want to download a font, so let's go for Roboto font. Should be in Google. So let's download this Roboto font. Get font, download all. Let's open it. Okay. We can also go to tweak in the Windows. I'm just going to enable minimize, maximize, placement right. Okay, there you go. And now if we go to the home folder, I'm pressing middle mouse button, home folder, and let's Roboto, go to extract. Okay, so what I want to do is basically copy these two, Roboto, go to home folder, press Ctrl H to unhide the dot folders, create Ctrl Shift N, create a dot font, and paste these two font, Roboto. Okay, so what I'm doing, you can follow along, and you can search, you can Google it and eventually you will find all of the solutions. So that means the dot font, why I'm pressing Ctrl H because it will be hidden. Okay, so in Linux, if you use dot something in a folder name, it will become hidden. Okay, in a folder name, in a file name, dot. Okay, so you need to see it with Ctrl H, number one. Number two, if you want to use a font, if you want to create some fonts and custom fonts, you can create it in your home folder. Create a folder named dot font, and there you can paste your custom fonts. Okay, then you can access it. So what I want to access is, let me go there. Okay, it has been done, so let's go here. What I want to access is basically, let's go to the tweak, and here is the fonts. I want to change the interface font to Roboto. Okay, I think we need to this is the Ubuntu problem, so I think we need to log in and log out later. Okay, we will work on it later. So let's go to these. We have already used gdebi, so what we can do here now is basically right click, open with gdebi package installer. Okay, always. So in this way we can use, rather than use something like this, sudo d package I then Google something. Okay, we can just right click gdebi package installer, we can open it here, so it will become a deb package installer. Okay, so let's install it. Give it name test, and there we go, it will be installed. It's now installing. So there are many shortcuts you can do. There are many things you can do. You need to Google it. I'm just giving you some of my own personal tweaks I use for faster, workarounds. So there we go. Okay. So if I go to the Chrome now, there we go. This is Chrome. Why I'm using Chrome? Yeah, because many people use Chrome. So yeah, I just want to give everyone a common ground here. So there we go. Now we are going to use some extensions. So let's see. Okay, the dot font should be dot fonts. Okay, there should be an S there, and let's see if we log in and log out, if that works or not. Let's see. If we log in now, okay, let's see text or tweak. Roboto, yeah, here it is. So Roboto, we want to use interface text as Roboto regular 11. There we go. Document text Roboto regular, and probably 12. Monospace is good, and this will be 12 as well. There we go. Okay, and let's go to files. Yeah, this is good. This is good for me. This is good for you. Okay, there we go. Now let's talk about the extensions. You can change GNOME a lot with GNOME extensions. So just Google GNOME extensions and it will be there, GNOME shell extensions. So okay, so now let's create you need to install a browser extension here. So just go here, add to Chrome, add extension. Here we go. All right, and let's refresh it, and we need to, yeah, okay, there you go. So now I will give you some of my essential extensions. So let's go for, first of all, coverflow. So coverflow, alt tab, my must. So let's on, install. Okay, you can see all of your extension here in extension. Okay, so this is the coverflow alt. What it does is basically you can press alt tab to cycle through your stuff, which is great. We need it. Then I'm going for dash to panel, which is another very important one for me personally. Dash to panel, this one, this one, install. There we go. All right, we will change them later. Okay, okay, let's change it one by one. So let's go to the extension dash to panel. What I do is basically I go to the settings. Okay, where we were actually, let me show you. Press Windows, extension, there we go, Windows key, extension, dash to panel. Let's go to the settings. What I use is basically I go to top. I use something like this: panel thickness 22 pixel and panel length actually 100%. Yeah, and date menu is stack to right. I go for monitor center. Date menu seems like we need a little bit of padding here. Go okay, and if it's a center menu, then it needs to be a center. Okay, center box should be monitor center. This two should be monitor center, and this should be right. Yeah, stack to right, and everything. Okay, done. And let's go to the style. It's up to you. I'm just giving my setup here. Okay, padding off. There we go. 1 pixel padding. There we go. Bottom metro and everything. Yeah. Let's go to the position. Show application button. Turn off. We don't need that. And desktop button. We don't need that. System menu is good. And other things are, for now, it is good. Okay. Now, let's go to. Let's go here. There is also called place status indicator. We need it, very important one. So this will give you some status of your indicator. Let's go to here, go to the place home. Suppose you have a project folder, press Ctrl Shift N, project, and you can bookmark it, new bookmark. Okay, so for now on, you can just go to the places and you can go to your project directly, which is really cool. Okay, there we go, project, which is really cool. I like it. So there we go. So dash to panel, I want, and I always use, is basically lock keys. Because my keyboard doesn't have any numlock and stuff, so I need that, which is pretty easy. So extension, lock keys. There we go. Settings. So for this I use caps lock when active and numlock never, and it will have OSD. So what it does, if I press numlock off, numlock on, and yeah, if I press caps lock on, it will give me a caps lock signature, and caps lock off. Okay, so this is one is good. Okay, and another one is panel date format. Okay, I use this one for formatting my date. So let's go, press on, install. And for these to work, I will give you this string in the description. You can use it, Ctrl+T, dconf. Okay, I use this string, press enter, and now if I go to the extension and look into this watch here, if I disable and enable it, this is my format I use always. So the link will be in the description. You can use it as well. And also I use, what else? Yeah, I use user themes, which should be there. Let me see. User themes. Yeah, user themes, enable it. I use it. And I also use this extension that is called Cronomix, which is basically a timer actually. So you can use it. It's nice. So there we go. So if I just go to the settings, I can turn off to do alarm I need timer, Pomodoro stopwatch. Okay, so it is a stopwatch, and you can use a timer or something like that, for timing your stuff. It's a good thing. Another thing I want to use is basically my volume knob, my volume button. The volume button, okay, I want to use over amplification. For over amplification, Control Alt T. Go to type this gsettings set org gnome sound all sound allow volume above 100% true. Okay, press enter, and now you have over amplification. Okay, and another one is tiling. So you can see that I cannot tile. Okay, I cannot tile. To enable this tiling, you can either use Ubuntu tiler, which has Ubuntu tiling, Ubuntu dock, Ubuntu tiling assistant. You can use this, which is sometimes buggy for some reason, but it's working now. Okay, there you go. So you can tile it up a little bit. You see, so it has some pretty buggy stuff going on, which I don't like. Okay, so that's why what I use is basically turn off Windows tiling assistant. I don't like it. It's not intelligent. What I use is basically GNOME original tiling. So let's copy this. I'm going to shift V. Gsettings set org.gnome.mutter h tiling true. Here we go. This one is much more better. Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. This is the better tiling option in my opinion. These are all my opinion and all of my personal tweaks. So if you want to use it, you can use it. You are most welcome. If you don't want to use it, you can use it. No problem. I don't mind. Okay, so in GNOME, in Mint, we need to do mostly the same thing. Sudo apt install GNOME and gnome-session. There you go. Let's install it. And at the middle of installation, it will give you to configure GTM3. So let's create OK. You can use LightDM or you can use GTM3. I'm going to use GTM3. So GTM3 is basically the display manager. Okay, so display manager, in the display manager, what you see at the startup of your Linux session. All right. Okay, GNOME is downloaded, so let's reboot. So let's go to test, go to gear, and you should have GNOME, Cinnamon, all lots of stuff. So let's go to GNOME, select it, and let's give it test. There we go. Go to display setting, and we're going to use 1920 1080. Apply, keep changes. Yeah, United States, here, all done. Here you go. It's Linux Mint in GNOME. And other things we saw earlier, all applied here. Okay, no problem. We're going to use dark style. So I don't want to repeat it here. Everything should be same. Okay. So that's it. I'm Father Sympathic from City Virus, and we're going to see next time. Bye bye.